Hi, this is Wade here with IG Labs, and welcome to episode 2 of our data science podcast series. For today's episode, I'm going to be discussing a groundbreaking achievement in the healthcare industry using AI and data science. And then from there, I'll pivot over and talk about NVIDIA GTC 22, which is happening March 21st through the 24th, and highlight a couple of sessions from that. And then I'll finish up today's episode by showcasing some cool projects out there in the NVIDIA developer community. So let's hop right into it. So just recently, a Stanford University research team, in collaboration with other industry partners, broke the Guinness World Record for the fastest DNA sequencing in just 5 hours and 2 minutes. So you might wonder, well, why is this a big deal? So something like this would allow clinicians to draw blood from a critical care patient and reach a genetic disorder diagnosis within the same day, if not hours. And so for something like this, it would normally take a couple of weeks. And in this particular case, it allowed the team to find a pathogenic variant and make a definitive diagnosis in a 3-month-old infant with a rare seizure causing genetic disorder. So think from a couple of weeks to just a couple of hours could be the difference between life and death in critical care patients. And a traditional gene panel analysis was also ordered during this time, and it took 2 weeks to return those results. So again, 2 weeks or a few weeks to just a couple of hours. What could be the difference between saving someone's life. And then also to note here, a typical whole human genome sequencing diagnostic test can even take up to 6 to 8 weeks. So by incorporating AI and data science, it speeds up the process drastically. And then even if you were to kind of fast track your traditional sequencing diagnostic test, it would still take 2 to 3 days. So this is a groundbreaking achievement for these individuals. And a person's genome is made up of 3 billion base pairs as well, by the way. So you might wonder, well, how was this done? So this was done using NVIDIA's GPUs on Google Cloud, which allowed researchers to generate more than 100 gigabases per hour. And to put that into context, 1 gigabase is the equivalent of 1 billion nucleotides. And using NVIDIA's A100 GPUs along with their Clara Parabricks computational genomics application framework, they were able to achieve this. And the Clara Parabricks framework is used for research throughout the community because it gives them high accuracy DNA and RNA sequencing. And the overall goal for researchers in this project is, again, to get that time down. So they said they want to be able to go from start to finish in about 7 to 10 hours on average. So to drop down from a couple weeks to just a day or 7 to 10 hours, that would be an amazing accomplishment just in the industry as well. And also the researchers from this project, they'll be speaking at the upcoming GTC 22 as well. So on that note, let's kind of go over and talk about GTC 22. So here's what it looks like when you first go to the NVIDIA page and for GTC 22. First off, I'd like to say, if you haven't already, please register. It's not just healthcare things. It's all kinds of industries that they talk about and cover. They have their plenty of professionals coming in from different fields and just giving you a rundown of just like the latest developments and achievements and where they're trying to go in the industry. So you're here on the main page. Excuse me. All right, so you're here on the main page, and you can go to your session catalog. So going to your session catalog is going to give you that breakdown of all the different classes that they're going to offer and topics they're going to cover during the session. So you can break it down by your industry, which, like I say, they have plenty of different industries that you can talk about. If you have interest in it, they have it. And from there, you can also, within here, I was talking about the DLIs, and you have the DLIs, which are like your full day workshops where you have an instructor led just teaching you. I've actually attended one, and it was going over their rapids, and I was able to use an instance of their GPU and just comb through thousands and thousands of amounts of data in a quick time frame. So again, once again, The GTC is from the 21st through the 24th of this month, and if you haven't, I'd highly recommend that you register and just check it out. I mean, if you anything you're interested in, they're going to cover within this session. So please just check it out and just see some cool, groundbreaking discoveries. And on that note, I'd like to just kind of highlight a couple of the upcoming sessions that I think would be kind of cool to talk about. So first on the list, I have accelerating healthcare innovation with AI. So this session is just going to kind of be the latest on how researchers and developers and medical device makers are using the NVIDIA Clara framework that I mentioned earlier for groundbreaking breakthroughs and discoveries. And this session is going to be on Tuesday, March 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern. And another thing, if when I register for these things, I register for so many of these courses that I have to check the schedule to make sure things don't overlap, because there's just so much great information out there regarding this conference. And then from there, another interesting session that I'd like to highlight is capitalizing on the metadata of medical imaging to boost AI performance. And this is just going to kind of discuss how industry partners are taking advantage of medical imaging and using AI to develop tools to help out your clinical teams. And again, just how can we close that gap to potentially save someone's life? So that should also be a pretty interesting session to attend. Another session I like to highlight is real-time analysis of massive continuous data from dialysis machines to predict heart failure risk with new edge AI platform with NVIDIA. So this session is going to discuss how real-time analysis of large continuous amounts of data from a kidney dialysis machine is incorporated into the machine learning process. And something that was cool about this, I seen that it said that the results show a 90% accuracy. So that's going to be something that would be really cool to see a live demonstration of. The next topic I'd like to highlight is because we love cars, and it's the year 2022, and back when I was a kid, there was always talk of, man, they're going to have self-driving cars in the future, but we're not quite self-driving cars in the future, or more so flying vehicles in the future, I guess I should say. But we do have self-driving cars now, so this session is going to be accelerate autonomous vehicle development with NVIDIA Drive. And that's kind of just like their platform that they're using that's going into all the cars with AI. There's their NVIDIA Drive. And this session is going to discuss that platform, which again, it offers end-to-end autonomous vehicle development solutions, including data center infrastructure, in-vehicle hardware, your vehicle operating system, and then it's just going to talk about the latest achievements in that session. And another session that I would like to highlight is how to achieve million-fold speedups in data center performance. So what's interesting about this is this session is going to discuss how the new AI framework and algorithms are optimized, and it increases data center performance by up to 1 million times faster. So in a world where speed is critical, increasing your performance by up to 1 million times faster, that just seems kind of unreal to me. And last but not least, another session that I would like to highlight is big data in climate and earth sciences and challenges and opportunities for machine learning. So this session will just kind of cover how professionals are using massive amounts of data from satellites, observing the earth, and talk about just some of the challenges associated with that data and how they're using machine learning within that process. And they're going to talk about how they're monitoring tropical forests, agriculture, and water. So I just thought that'd kind of be some cool sessions to highlight for upcoming NVIDIA GTC 22. And again, that's happening March 21st through the 24th. So on to the NVIDIA developer community. I promised that I'd wrap up today's episode by just kind of showcasing some of the cool projects out there. So for those of you who've never been to the developer community webpage, this is just kind of like an overview of what it looks like. So you have your projects, and for today's episode, I'm going to be going into that projects folder and just kind of highlighting some projects. But then they also have different resources and things like that that you can use if you have your NVIDIA developer kit and you're just trying to get after it yourself. So again, this is the NVIDIA developer community webpage. And with that, let's kind of just hop into some of the cool projects that I'd like to showcase for today. So one of the first things I'd like to highlight is the Beer Sherpa project. And in this project, it's cool. Someone literally made a robot that can take Google commands and go get them a beer and bring it back to them. So, like I said, it receives commands via a Google Connect assistant and then passes the location. And you might wonder, well, how does it navigate? It uses like a LiDAR radar on the robot to navigate. That way it's not bumping into things and stuff like that. And at this point, I'm going to actually play the video so you all can kind of just see it for yourself in action. And I think it's really cool. It's a fun project that someone just happened to develop out there in the community. So without further ado, let's see what this video is talking about. All right. And so there you have it. It's giving it the command to go, hey, get me a beer. And the robot's like, okay. So this is showing like the path on like the LiDAR radar and how it's navigating. And here it goes coming up to the fridge. And again, this is really cool to see. It's gonna take and use its handle, open the fridge, grab the beer. Now, for someone like me who's like when I'm at home on the weekends, I'm kind of like an avid gamer and I'm just gaming. I wouldn't mind having a robot to just like, hey, go fetch me a beer or something while I'm playing video games. I don't have time to get up right now. And as you can see, this is just cool. It's picking it up. I'd be interested to kind of see here also how does it, if you could do anything to make it distinguish, but I imagine that would require a lot more work to be able to distinguish, like, hey, give me this kind of drink. But it actually closes it as well. And it takes it right back to the owner. And that's a cool project. That is extremely cool. Another project that I'd like to highlight, just because like with every fun thing, I like to always kind of make it something that's like serious and that can actually have like a positive effect on someone's life. So this one is AI for healthcare with the Jetson Nano. So this one builds kind of off of like the Hello AI World tutorial that I use to integrate into like just the projects in general. And this project currently detects lung cancer, COVID-19, tuberculosis, and pneumonia. And how it's doing this is that you're training the model by using chest and lung CT scans and X-ray images. And in this particular project, they use the Kaggle data set. And at this point, I'm just going to kind of show you the video. Why not at this point? It's another cool video. So let's see. And you can see here, it's on the left, it's just the image. And then on the right, it's going to be given that confidence level of like, that's normal, normal, normal. And it's still just kind of going through that confidence level. And that's detecting pneumonia now on the right. And now that's detecting tuberculosis. So that was just another quick one that I thought I'd show you all. And then to finish up, I'd like to showcase a robot arm playing cornhole because that's also something else that's cool out there. So this project uses a KUKA robot arm, an NVIDIA Jetson Xavier. And a couple things you have to take into consideration for this project is that, for one, the robot arm is moving. So you have to do some math with this project. And then you also have to project the location on the board itself of the hole. So a couple of things to take into consideration with this project, but again, it's another cool one. I'm from North Carolina, so whenever I go back home, we tend to play cornhole, so I thought this would be kind of cool to showcase, but let's hop right into the video. And there you have it. You have a robot arm just sinking shots into the board. So imagine teaming up with a robot arm and just beating everybody. At that point, I don't even think you'd need to throw. You could just have the robot arm throw for you, and you'd win. Like myself personally, like I said, I'm from North Carolina, and I play whenever I go back home. I'm not the best person at cornhole, but having a board like this, having a robot like this to go on with me, I'm pretty sure we could run the table with everyone. This is just kind of showing like all the things going into the board and all that. And again, it's using like a LiDAR as well to just kind of get a gauge of the area. But I thought that'd be another cool project to showcase and finish up with for today's episode. And I'd like to just say thank you all for tuning in to today's episode. And as a reminder, we kind of covered groundbreaking news in the healthcare industry using AI. GTC 22 is coming up March 21st through the 24th, so make sure you please tune in for that to just find anything that you're interested in. And also, when you have some free time, check out the NVIDIA developer community. Again, I'm Wade here with IG Labs, and thank you for tuning in to today's episode.